Yo, peace out there. Shalom. We got a special presentation by the good brother Yeshaya, and he's gonna give some context into how and who is El and how is he used in reference to the Bible and other Canaanite religions. So go ahead, brother Yeshaya. You can go ahead and start your presentation, and I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions along the way.
All right, man. I appreciate that, brother Alvin, man. Most definitely. By the way, man, do you got your sword with you? I really want to get up and get my Bible, but it's not a King James, and I really wanted somebody to read that. I don't have a King James on me at this point, so do you got your sword on you? Because there's some things I want to go into. I want to back some of these things up scripturally first.
Yeah, I got it right here for you. Just tell me what you want me to read.
All right, well, basically, the lesson today is basically who was El. And to the academia world, El is separated from the El in the Bible by tradition and by relationship between the people. Now, what I'm here to express and to explain is that that is not the case, and that the historians, the academia, and basically the mainstream comedics, people that are in the field out there that deal with text, they got this wrong. The Bible's historical context has been played out, has been taken away. The actual meanings, as far as who the creator is to the people, and to the people today are not thinking in the mindset of the Hebrews back then. The Hebrews back then understood this quite clearly who El was, and El is the supreme deity of the Canaanite pantheon. That's who El is, bottoms down, hands down. But also, El is the Messiah that we worship today. El is the Son of God, if you will, that we have presented in the Brit Hadashah, also known as the New Testament. And we can also see this El, we can see this Messiah all through Tanakh. This is another reason why some of the brothers who are Torah-based can't quite connect or see the Messiah in Tanakh, because people have worked so hard for many years to try to cut off or try to separate the Bible from historical cultures and the people that were in the Levant area and their religious traditions. And since that has happened, we have cut off information that will give us in-depth detailed information and secrets to certain scriptures that we read on a daily basis. So today, what I'm here to do is to bring this out and to make this a significance for those who are Hebrew Israelites as well. This is for ammunition purposes, and this is for my people to get a better understanding of what they're reading. All right. So matter of fact, let me get something real quick. All right. Let me make sure I set up everything that I got on my tablet, and let me just go run and get my book real quick. All right, so I want to first start off with this. I want to first start off with El is Messiah. I want to deal with this because this is what's going to set up my premise. And my premise is coming from a familiar passage or a familiar chapter that's in Hebrews. A lot of people over the years have gotten this wrong so many times, even myself. Michael the Archangel is something that pops up in a lot of people's minds when it comes down to this specific passage because of the arguments that we had over the years as being Christians. Who's the Messiah? Jehovah's Witnesses says Michael the Archangel and things of that nature because of the description that is given to the Malachim that is inside the Torah, and also the description that is given here. Because people lack the understanding because of the English translation, I'm going to bring back the ideology that should be in our minds that will exnate the tradition or the common origin of this doctrine, and basically solidify what the name is. And this is why most of the Jehovah's Witnesses ain't getting right, nor the Christians at all neither. They don't know how to explain this passage. Now, this passage goes more into the name. It always deals and stresses the name. This is Hebrews chapter 1. All right. And I'm going to read the whole thing and then start breaking down certain key points, and then I'm gonna go into the initial premise, or the initial information based off of this premise right here. All right, it says Yahuwah in heaven of old time in many portions and many ways. All right, to the fathers by the Nebaim. So Yahuwah, in old time spoke to these people in different ways by different people, right? It says, has in these last days spoken to us by his son, whom he has appointed heir over all, through whom also he made all ages. Now, the key thing here is that it says he appointed his son heir over all. Israel is not the only thing that the Messiah had heir over. All right. And then also on top of that, it also says that he made the ages, okay, with the Messiah, or he made the ages with his son. And I want you to remember this, ages, all right, because it's going to be brought up later on in the video to clarify and to also be an identification mark to who Messiah is, to attach him to El. It says, who being in the brightness of the esteem and the exact representation of his substance, and sustaining all by the word of his power, having made a cleansing of our sins through himself, sat down at the right hand of the greatness on high. Now notice, it says, set at the right hand. All right. These key indicators are trying to help you figure out what is the name. All right. And let me go ahead and jump down, matter of fact, verses 8. It says, but to the Son, your throne, O Elohim, is forever and ever, a scepter of straightness in the scepter of your reign. So now we see that the Son is called Elohim, or in better sense, El. All right, this is what he is called, O Elohim or O El. All right, now when we skip up, all right, to verses 5, this is the question that Paul was asking people. This is what everybody got wrong. The way that you read it determines your understanding. Now we're going to read this, and then I'm going to jump into the later part of this passage, and it's going to give you the answer to what was being asked. All right, it says, for to which of the messengers did he say, or did he ever say, you are my son, today I have brought you forth, and again I shall be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son? Now Paul asked a question that is so vital to the Hebrew community that is just a shame that people haven't taken the time to really study and get the understanding of why he's asking this. He's asking you, what is the name? What is the name? Now, of course, a lot of us be like, it's Yahusha, or some people say it's Jesus, or some people that say it's Yahuwah or Yahweh, right? But no, it's not. Okay, it's not, and this is the reason why it's not. When I keep reading on, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It says in verses 10, it says, and you, Master, founded the earth in the beginning, and the heavens are the works of your hands. They shall perish, but you remain, and they shall all grow old like a garment, and like a mantle you shall fold them up, and they shall be changed, but you are the same, and your years shall not fail. And to which of the messengers did he ever say, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet? Are they not all serving spirits sent out to attend those who are about to inherit deliverance? So this whole passage is dealing with the hierarchy of angelical beings and their overseers. This is what the whole passage is about, if nobody really took the time to read and understand it. It's always dealing with the heavenly messengers. It was not dealing with anybody that was on a human plane, as far as the Levites, as far as the judges that was in Israel, or the Pharisees, or the Talmudim that was walking with the Messiah, or the prophets. That's not who this was dealing with. It started off telling you about how he talked through the prophets, but now he's talking through his son. This whole passage is about angelical beings. Now also, one more key thing here that I'm going to bring out, and then I'm going to get into the rest of the information. It says, let me see. It says, okay, verses 4, having become so much better than the messengers, as he has inherited a more excellent name than they. See, this is why his name is Yahusha, or people may say Jesus or Yeshua, because these names are nothing but a derivative of the Father's name, which is Yah, or Yahuwah, or Yahweh. That's why he said, I come in my Father's name. He didn't come in his own name. He has a name. And actually, the names that we can find that he has is all throughout Tanakh, in a couple of places. But first, for edification purposes, and if you will, Brother Alvin, all I want you to do is, for me, I want you to go to Genesis chapter 9. All right, and I want you to get verses 24 for me, if you don't mind, and just hold it there for me. But now what we see here in John chapter 5, which I'm about to go to right now, and excuse the background or anything like that. But here we go. Now, John chapter 5 clarifies what I'm talking about here. I'm just dealing with the external evidences first. John chapter 5, verses 43, it reads, I have come in my Father's name, and you do not receive me. If anyone comes in his own name, him you will receive. How are you able to believe when you are receiving esteem from one another? And the esteem that is from the only Elohim, you do not seek. All right, now I can get into a lot of things that clarify this even more. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically break down some narratives to you real quick. First of all, he comes in his Father's name. He doesn't come in his own name. First and foremost, what is his name? People call him Yeshua. We call him Yahusha. So that lets you know that the Father's name is Yahusha, or people say Yeshua. Now, what does that mean? It means that Yahuwah or Yahweh saves. That's why he said, I come in my Father's name. But what is his name? What is the name that he was given? Quite simple. We'll get to it. Isaiah chapter 7. And I'm going to paraphrase some of it because I got the scriptures written down, but I'm just going to paraphrase some of the for time purposes. Now, Isaiah chapter 7, everybody knows this scripture. All right, Isaiah chapter 7, verses 14. And what does it say? It says, therefore, Yahuwah himself gives you a sign. Look, the maiden conceives and gives birth to a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. See, people don't understand that this name Emmanuel is just giving you what his name always was. That was El. All it means is El with us. That's all it means, Emmanuel. Emmanuel, the whole Imam, that's not the actual name, but it's the note, and it's showing you that who is with you, who is amongst you. It is El, the mighty one. I'm going to show you that is El. I'm going to give you irrefutable evidences that his name was El. The Messiah name was El. This is the same El that the Canaanites were dealing with, and the same El that Abraham was dealing with, and also the same El that was talking to Moshe, right? Now, for clarification, brother Alvin, if you don't mind, all right, if you're not too busy monitoring and, you know what I'm saying, making sure the connection is right, I want you to read Genesis chapter 19, and I want you to read verses 24 for me, because what that's going to show y'all is that Hebrews chapter 1 clarifies that he inherited this name that is greater than all of the other messengers because he took the Father's name. All right, so could you please
Genesis 19, what?
Verses 24.
Verse 24. Okay. Then Yahweh rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from Yahweh out of heaven.
So we see two Yahwehs here. We see two Yahwehs here. All right. Now, if we see two Yahwehs here, that lets you know that there was one on earth and there was one in heaven. I say this all the time, and nobody has refuted this, and nobody has tried to rationalize it, because you can't. It's just what the scriptures say. Now, let's clarify that. Let's really amplify what I'm saying here. That's really going to put some nails to the coffin, and then we're going to skip on to more external evidences. When we go to Amos, and brother Alvin, please follow me here, man, because if you got a King James or whatever scripture you're reading out of, it'll benefit me. That way, it's two or more witnesses speaking. You know what I'm saying? So all right, good night, y'all. Shut that door too for me. Yeah, because I'm live streaming. Now, Amos chapter 4, verses 10 through 11. I want y'all to see something real quick. Now I'm working out of the Hallelujah scripture, so I gotta get to I think it's 600 if I'm not mistaken. I'm still not used to this book, man.
I'm here.
If you there, go ahead and read it for me. If you there,
Amos 4, 10.
yeah, I got it. I got it. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it. Amos 4, verses 10 through 11. It says, no, let me read verses 9. I'm sorry, verses 9 through 11. Now listen to this. The way the narrative is. Listen to how the narrative is here. It says, I have smitten you with blight and with mildew. The creeping locusts devour your many gardens, and your vineyards, and your fig trees, and your olive trees. But you did not turn back to me, declares Yahuwah, or declares Yahweh. I have sent amongst you a plague in the way of Mitzrayim. I have slain your young men with a sword, along with your captured horses, and I made the stench of your camps come into your nostrils. But you do not turn back to me, declares Yahweh. I have overthrew some of you as Elohim overthrew Sodom and Amorah, and you were like the firebrand plucked from the burning, but you did not turn back to me, declares Yahweh. Now, Yahweh or Yahuwah just told you that I have overthrew some of you like Elohim did in Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, did we not just read what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah? And if we just read what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah, it was two. Right here, it's two. It's one talking about the other. El is who he's talking about.
Okay, cool, brother James. You mind for just a little quick Q&A before you deliberate?
Yeah, we can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So now that's very interesting what you brought up in the Amos chapter. Now when we look at that word Emmanuel, would you agree it's in the same format as the other angels, ending in the word El?
Well, it would be, but because this is the name that's given, and this is the name that I'm trying to show forth that is evident of just being singular El, that is a title with the name in it. Like the angel, that's their name. Like Mikey El, that's his name, but his name means something, but it has the name in it. It has the higher power's name in it.
No, exactly. No, I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is that Emmanuel is in that same form because, right, like you said, it's God with us, right?
That's right.
But Gabriel is man of God or
that's
whatever.
Right.
And so I'm riding with you right there. The only thing I would say that may be a little difference is I would say the traditions on what El did and didn't do would be different between the Canaanite and the Hebrew. Just like what you see with Yeshua. You have some stories of Yeshua being hanged. Then, of course, in the Talmud, they say his real father was a Roman soldier, and all that type of stuff. So you have different traditions of certain people.
That's right.
And you can say, so if you want to say the Hebrews, because we all know the Hebrew dialect comes out of the Phoenician.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Canaanites are speaking the same language, they probably had they actually did have different traditions about what El did and didn't do that would differ from the Hebrew. So I would agree with you in saying, if you want to say that's the same deity, I would agree in the context of same deity, different traditions about what that deity did.
Absolutely.
Because when you look at the Ugarit, the relationship between El and Yahweh is a little different from what you see in the Bible. You have like El, he's out having sex and doing all kinds of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But I do think you have a point in the context of there being different traditions about this same deity.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
It's what's happening here is that, and I'm going to prove this. I'm going to prove this with the Bible, because the Bible is giving us everything that we should need, but it's how people are reading it, and with the seminars and the people that are teaching are basically putting out there, what the evangelists are putting out there, with the what do you call it when you go out there to college to be a what with the seminary school or whatever like that. These are the people that try to rationalize the Bible so much to separate it from a cultural or historical or religious tradition, by so much of a large gap that when we read the Bible, we're reading it through the mindset that they have trying to rationalize it. Oh, see, that's not the same. See, the reason why that's not the same. This guy said that guy over there said that. But the thing of the fact of the matter is, people had different times, or people had different dealings with this same entity.
Yeah, because that's what it's kind of like when I say the Yeshua whose real daddy was Pantheon or Pandera, the Roman soldier. It's in the context of that's not the same Yeshua that I believe in. That was, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of in that context of these different traditions. And also what I will say is that I believe the Bible's version of El is the correct one.
That's right.
I would also say that because, you know, when you look at the Ugarit and all of that, I mean, this is based off, you know, our religion, right? So when you look at the Ugarit, El, you know, they're making statues of them and everything. And then when you look in the Bible, it says, yo, we're not supposed to make any graven images of anything. That's why it's funny, because a brother asked me the other day, would you stomp on a picture of a black Yeshua? I said I would, because I'm not supposed to be making no images of him anyway. Whether he be white or black, we're not supposed to make any images of anything in heaven above or earth below. So,
and if it was wrong then, it's because of a specific reason. Because you gotta remember something. What did the Most High tell Moses when the children of Israel acted up when he was on that mountain? He said, I will destroy them and I will raise them to take their place. The only reason why he didn't do that is because Moses pleaded to him. Because it's the same thing he did with the Amorites, the same thing he did with the Canaanites. He forsook them because they did not follow his ordinances or his orders. And Ron Divine brought that out very clearly inside of his video, The Secrets of the Priesthood, which I suggest everybody definitely look at that and coincide this video that I'm doing that. Because the academia world is trying to help. It's trying to help. Now, yes, we do have a distinct culture, but our culture is based upon another culture that preceded us. It's only because it was right.
Now, you brought up some real interesting in this Amos 4:11 passage, because notice he used the word Elohim.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how many angels came to Lot when that happened?
But hold up.
You see what I'm saying? So they used the plural. He referred to that. I mean, that's kind of interesting right there. Go ahead, bro.
He uses the this is what it's bad. Yahweh, the Elohim, Elohim. First of all, Elohim, and most times it is used to the Father. And if you read the passage very carefully that we read, it said that Elohim ranked down fire and brimstone from Elohim or Yahuwah in heaven. So the one that's being referred to as Elohim is the Father. The one that is the or the one that is El and has taken on the Father's name is the Yahuwah. He said, I have overthrew some of you like Elohim did.
I may differ from you just a little bit, because I feel Yahweh, the self-existing one, would be the chief over everybody. But when we look in the book of Job, I would say that is the council of the Elohim in the plural. You see what I'm saying? I got Yahweh sitting on the throne, who is the God of the Elohim, the El of the Elohim, sitting on the throne.
Remember what I said? Elohim denotes the most high in certain times.
El Elyon.
Exactly. So what I'm telling you, what I'm basically saying is that this is what it comes in that. Because people don't look at verses like this. There's many more too. I can go to a whole bunch of these verses in Joshua. We talk about the son of Nun. He said, and Elohim said to Satan, Elohim curse you. You hear what I'm saying? Right. Elohim is never Elohim. The plural never denoted to be an angel. It's not.
Right. I agree with that. I definitely agree that, because what it is you do have the definition of mighty ones, right? Correct. So it's almost like, matter of fact, we have a perfect example. The word God in English, correct?
That's right.
That word is used generically. I can say Thor is a god. I can say Zeus is a god. It's a generic word for English that means
Mm-hmm.
God. But when I say God, do you believe in God? Most people attribute that to the Abrahamic deity. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's generically used, and it means some other stuff, of course, with the Germanic storm deity and all of that. But when you say God in the context of our language, it's the Abrahamic faith. So when I look at the word El in that time, it's kind of the same thing, where it was used generically,
Yes,
but
it was.
but it's also used to signify El, or El Elyon, or Elohim,
Mm-hmm.
the God of gods, or whatever, the one true God, or Eloah. You know what I'm saying? So it's really a situation of there being a chief deity that we should only worship alone, but he governs over the angels, or the lesser other deities, whatever
That's
you want to
right.
call them. So it's a matter of henotheism, and I think we talked
It,
about.
it it's even more than henotheism as well too. But I'm gonna get on that on a whole nother video. It's a lot of videos I have to do in relationship to the one that I'm doing now, because there's so much information that one can't just cover. Like you, it'll take a long time. And this study is very extent. And what it does is this is what it helps do though. It helps us to understand that our creator has always been here on the scene, regardless of how early or how late the Bible was written. And a lot of people use that, and a lot of brothers and sisters are falling away because of this. First and foremost, the Bible always expresses that the creator is the one that has given positions to these malachims, or these aliens, or these other gods. And these other gods were able to issue forth the sciences and the mathematics and the astronomy, all right, to the people, because these certain groups of people are nationalities. They had their they basically had a stewardship to the Most High. Everybody had a different aspect. This is the same thing you also see inside of the Brit Hadashah, when you're dealing with Paul's writing about we are all one body. But somebody has to be the arm, somebody got to be the leg, because now the Melchizedek priesthood is being put back into its rightful place, and we're to act upon these things symbolically, and we're supposed to do what the other nations did not do, because they used it for division, for separation, for war. Then they started perverting a lot of the sciences, and they actually started to give up the worship of the creator and started creating the elements, or the malachims that were over the elements, and the malachims endorsed that worship. And this is why you have certain passages inside of the Brit Hadashah that talks about he locked them in chains of darkness. And this had nothing to do with the fall of Satan. This had nothing to do when Satan drew 3/4 of the angels of heaven out. All right, that was in Genesis. A lot of people also don't know, and I don't want to jump the gun, but the story about Hillel, Lucifer falling, the king of Babylon being addressed. See, that's something that's also found in an epic of Atar and Baal. All right, where Atar is the son of the morning. He is the god over Venus, and he fell when he tried to go against Baal, one of the sons of the Most High. And why would Isaiah bring that back up to the king of Babylon? Because he's giving the king of Babylon a warning physically, and also letting him know, remember what happened to your God already. So there's no way that you can be Elohim, who is supreme and top over all, because these people forgot about El. People forgot about Elohim. And this is, and anybody can look this up. What I'm saying, 100%, if anybody out there, a Syriologist, a chematologist, and they're very serious about studying and researching the Bible, everything that I'm saying, if you go look into it with your research methods and your tools as being a master researcher, everything that I'm saying will come up 100% correct. And that people have to start getting the right perspective in their mind about the Bible and stop saying the Bible copied, plagiarized. There's no such thing when it comes to this book. These people are showing you that they are a part of the same ancestral line that worship Elohim, point blank, period. And you're going to find these elements and traces inside of the book. And this is why I have to, this is why I'm bringing this out. Now, let me skip to something real quick. Let me read something real quick, right? Let me read something real quick to everybody. And I got the primary, and I got the picture of the primary, Isaiah 9:6. See, this is not an attack on none of my non-messianic brothers. But what I'm trying to tell you is because we've been cut off from history for so long, and we try to separate this Bible, which we are to do it in a sense of separating it and doing it the right way, but not separating it from the history or where it comes from. You don't cut the son off from the mother. The mother might be on crack, but you don't sit up there and take the son away from the mother and the son say, well, nobody birthed me. It just came out of the sky. No, it didn't. You know what I'm saying? You got a mother. You got something that was there that started you off in the direction that you're going in. Now, let me read this real quick. It says, Ka'an, and this is Isaiah 9:6 that I'm going to be referring to because it also shows you the name of the Messiah that a lot of people try. I've seen a lot of people do it. I've seen rabbis do it, but you can't beat the correlation. You cannot beat the past correlation that is inside of scriptures and that's inside of Ugaritic text. You can't beat it. You can't do that. So your rationality or whatever you're trying to rationale with the scriptures, it falls short. All right, it falls short when it comes to this. It says Canaan is written in a determinative land, while Israel is written in a determinative denote people. Oh, I'm sorry. Matter of fact, I meant to read down a little bit. It says the name of the head Canaanite god is El, or El, which is the same word for God in many of the West Semitic traditions and other ancient Near Eastern cultures, including Israel. While El can also be used as an appellative of deity in the Ugaritic text, it is much more commonplace as a proper name. This is why I'm trying to tell everybody. He said, I did not come in my own name. I come in my father's name, because even through Tanakh, he had a name, and his name was El, right? We're going to get into it. Now it says, Frank Moore Cross shows evidence of El being used in the earliest old Akkadian sources without the case ending. Unanimously, the divine, and the divine name, and not an appellative. So this man has found out that this is a proper name. This is just isn't for lower deities and other deities. This is a strictly proper name, right? It says, Cross also points out that the Amorites use the term El to denote God, and that El is also found as a divine proper name in the old South Arabic. All right, and I want you to understand what I just said. In old South Arabic, exactly where the king of Babylon was at, and where the king of Babylon, the religious center the king of Babylon also had, stems from this as well. And this is why Isaiah gave forth that prophecy about Hillel falling from the heavens and coming into the grave, because in that actual epic, Atar actually became the god of the underworld because of that. He tried to go so high and try to defeat Baal inside of his temple that he got beat up and got cast down to the lowest realms of earth, and he became the lord of the underworld. It's the same narrative inside of I think it's Isaiah 14:3, and also the same narrative in Ezekiel 28:12. Same thing. It's showing you parallels of our creator defeating or punishing the other gods. And I'm going to get into that as well. But check this out. Let me skip on down. It says the word El is used over 500 times in the text for Ugaritic. The most obvious uses of the word is the name of the divine patriarchal God, who was the head of the pantheon. El has a role as the father, all right, of the pantheon and of humankind. He is seated before the divine council, El's family, as its head. He is portrayed as being elderly and bearded, and is often called the ageless one or father of years. Now, where can we find this at? Where can we find this type of title? These two type of titles are closely related titles. Where can we find this at? Lo and behold, we can find it in Isaiah 9:6. Matter of fact, Brother Allen, if you want to go there, you can go and read yourself. And
yeah, let's say this though. As far as just simply having the word El as a name, the only case I see that is with the storm deity, Canaanite god or chief god El. But when you go back, which I agree upon you, as far as you make an interesting point with the word Emmanuel, that is God with us. I believe that would be the full name, as opposed to just El without the Emmanuel. You know what I'm saying? So if you're saying it's real, if you're saying that the real name of Yeshua is Emmanuel, that you have a very good argument with that.
No. What I'm saying is he was given the name Emmanuel because that was the name that would give his description of what was going on at that time when he was to be brought forth at birth. Because even the angel told Mary to say, his name shall be Emmanuel. Now, if his name shall be Emmanuel, but then he's walking around calling himself Yahushua, there's a problem. That's what I'm about to say. I'm about to clear it up for you. Because when I go into these other few scriptures, you're going to see why I say his name is El alone. You're going to see that. Because when we, matter of fact, let me just get to this real quick, right?
I'm just saying, if you look at Joshua or Yehoshua in the Old Testament, his original name wasn't Joshua. He got that Joshua title, when he became a savior or a messianic figure for the Israelites. So then his original name wasn't Yehoshua, you know what I'm saying? But it became that when they changed it, because he became a savior for the Israelites. You see what I'm saying? So when we talking about Emmanuel, when you're talking about Emmanuel and Yeshua, Yah saves is literally what Emmanuel did. In the same way you had Joshua in his original name, which is Yeshua, his name then changed to Yeshua. So I'm going more with that narrative. You see what I'm saying?
I got you. I got you. I'm trying to find these scriptures now. The reason why, and I clearly understand that, and I have no issue with that at all. But what I'm really trying to bring out, and if you can for me, please get Isaiah 9:6 for me, if you will. But it's just certain scriptures that are just too evident. I can paraphrase
one more thing, Brother Wayne. I don't mean to cut you off. Do you mind if I bring Brother James up in here?
No, I don't.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna bring Brother James up in here.
Okay. Now, like I said, dealing with Isaiah 9:6. Let me just get to that real quick. Now, I've seen a lot of people, like I said, try to rationalize this, and that rationalization does not work according to the information that I do have. I would be even more comfortable to say that I have empirical information, or my information or my answers to this enigma.
I gotta admit, Wayne, you bringing some good stuff out, bro. You know what I'm saying? There's some things I'm like iffy on, but some of the stuff like that Amos 4:11 passage you brought up is something I'm gonna go back and look at a little deeper.
It's gonna be more than that though, brother. I didn't even open up the can of worms when it comes down to that. You'll see that a couple of times in scriptures. You even got to listen, brother. I can paraphrase it, but I want to find the scriptures so everybody that has any different version of their Bibles can compare all of those things to the Dead Sea Scrolls or the Septuagint, however old you can get. I don't care what version of the Bible it is. You can find the same type of narrative that is found in Amos and many other versions, and they did not change it. It's a reason why they did not.
You're kind of breaking up a little bit, brother. I don't know if it's your.
Well, I started breaking up when James came in. You hear me now?
You break up. Hey, I hear you a little better. Hey, this brother Yaakov just hopped in. What's up, brother Yaakov?
Shalom, brother Yaakov.
Shalom,
brother Yaakov. You there?
Yeah, shalom.
All right, thanks for joining in the discussion. For joining in the discussion. You can hop.
I just want to hear what the brother got to say before I make any comments, because I'm liking what he's saying. Like, I just kind of stand with you a little bit as far as the name. Was that the name, the ancient name he was called by? I completely agree. That's the ancient name he was called by. But I personally, from my research, don't believe it's the proper name.
I got you. I
Yeah.
understand.
But go ahead, Wayne. Go ahead, continue. But everything, but you said some good stuff though. Go ahead.
Now, can y'all hear me still? Can y'all
Yeah,
hear
I
me?
can hear
Good.
you.
All right.
Good.
Now Isaiah 9:6. All right, and I got to paraphrase. I'm gonna have to paraphrase some of this because I see that I don't got the scriptures that I wanted. But when I paraphrase this, I'm really holding you brothers accountable to look it up because you're going to see why I say about this proper name. Man, I'm going to show it in Exodus too. I'm gonna reveal that. You know what I'm saying? Why he said what he said. But now, like I said, we got here that El, one of his titles is Ageless One or Father of Years. Now, this is the unique thing about Isaiah 9:6 that a lot of brothers overlook, scholars, non-messianic, and messianic alike. That this is indicating and showing you something that was always known in the past. See, people don't understand that the people of this Bible, they're very familiar with a lot of the Canaanite religions. They were around it. Their people started it. All right, okay. So we got to keep this in mind here. Let us not take anything away from this book as we're going into what I'm saying right now, right? And this is just for those that are listening. I know the brothers up here are very astute when it comes down to this information, so they'll be able to assimilate it the way that they can. Now, of course, it says in verse 6, "For a child shall be born unto us." Now we know this is Emmanuel. It says, "A son shall be given unto us, and his rule is on his shoulders, and his name is called Wonderful." Okay, I can show you in the Bible where the Malachim, when Shemash or Samson father said, "What is your name?" He said, "My name is Too Wonderful," because that also correlates when it goes up into Revelation where it says there's going to be a name on him that nobody knows. So this all ties into ties and connect, but that's another video. But I'm just bringing that out for some points. Now it says, "And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, Strong El." Strong El, Mighty El. All right, that's his name, right? It also says Father of Continuity. All right, Father of Continuity, Prince of Peace. Okay, and Alvin, if you can, I want you to read that also in the version that you got, so we can get a better understanding of what's being said here, because you see the same titles. All right, you're talking about the Father of the Ages. You're talking about the Mighty El. He's giving
You're talking about Isaiah 9:6, brother.
That's right.
Okay, let me go here. Isaiah 9:6. You want me to read it for you, bro? Just
Yes,
on the KJV? Okay.
Yes,
all right, here we go. Isaiah 9:6. "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty Elohim." Matter of fact, hold on. Let me get the Strongs on that right quick.
You could.
Okay, the mighty. Now here's this. Now this is important because it says the Mighty El. The word Elohim is not right here.
That's
it's
right.
Okay, so we got the Mighty El, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace.
The Everlasting Father.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he called the Father?
Because El is the father of all the ancient gods.
That's why he's called the Father.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. So why people skip over this?
They use the singular. They do not use Elohim right
They
here.
don't. They use a singular. And we know that this is who? We know that this is the Messiah. This is why it's imperative for the Hebrew brothers to have this information. Because now we can't no longer ignore this, nor the preceding information that comes before it. These are the titles that was given to this man or this son in this prophecy, because this is something that the Ugaritic text brings up. This is something that the Canaanites knew, and they also called him by the same titles. The Father of Years, or Ageless One, and calling him a father, period. You don't call somebody a father, and we know we ain't talking about the Father. We're not saying that. It's indicating, showing you who this is. It's determining to you that this is the El of the pantheon of the Canaanite religion. That's what it's showing you. Because El had sons, and El ruled over these sons.
Now I will check this out. Now Wayne, I'm agreeing with a lot of what you said, but check this out. What I will say is this: if we go back to Abraham, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have the belief that Abraham was using the word El when he was talking to
I'm
Con,
God.
gonna,
con.
I'm gonna
So,
show you. I'm
so
gonna
watch,
show you,
so
Alvin.
watch this. Now, this is something important. I believe the word Yahweh came about when Moses went down into Midian. I think prior to that, the people in the Mesopotamian Canaanite area was calling the deity El, and in the southern parts of Arabia,
Yep.
Midian, they were using the word Yahweh.
Well,
See what
let
I'm
me
saying?
add something in real quick, Alvin, because this is something I think very important too. Because when you deal with the name El in and of itself, the most ancient place you find this is in Sumeria. It is not in Canaan. It's not, it starts in Sumeria. That's the most ancient documentation they have of the word El. But when you break it down, and this is the reason why I don't look at it as a proper name, when you break it down, it just means power or strength. So, I mean, it's not, like I said, in my view, from my studies, it's not the name of this deity, but it's a title of this deity. Because even when you deal with other of the Elohim, like Mikael, his name is Makah, and El is the suffix title to show that he is a deity. Not a deity as in someone to be worshipped, but he is part of this henotheistic pantheon. You see what I'm saying?
I got
So
you.
so that's what I'm saying. Like El is just, it means power or strength. I don't see it as a proper title, but they didn't have a proper title for this deity, so they just called him El in ancient times.
Now remember, I want you to remember, Alvin, my premise was based off of Hebrews chapter 1, which shows you that he inherited that name because that was the father's name. That's the only reason why you see this
Yeah,
name.
see, I agree. Yeah, I agree with you on that. No, yeah. See, what I'm saying is, and this is where me and James agree, and I actually agree with you too, Wayne. Um, it's just a matter of, I would say Emmanuel would be the complete name, just like what
I
James
got
said
you.
with Mikael
Mhm.
or Gabriel or any of that God or El with us. I
Mhm.
believe in that context. So if you put that Emmanuel with it, I'm with you 100%. I mean, really, the only part where we disagree is just leaving it the
Yeah,
Emmanuel
I'm
and
cool with
just
that
saying
because,
El.
like I said,
But the rest of your, but the rest of your premise, I agree with your premise. Actually,
yeah, Hebrews chapter 1 attests to what you're
it's just
saying.
that little
But
part.
Hebrews chapter 1 attests to what you're saying because he said which one of, basically I can just say it
Right.
like this, which one
Yeah,
of the
but
sons
your
of God did he say you are my son? That's basically what it said. That's basically the question that Paul was asking the people to jog their memory and say, oh, so you don't know, huh? Who said this? Who was one of who is the son that he said sit down my right hand? Y'all know the name. Y'all should know the name. You get what I'm saying? So let
right,
me tell
right.
you right here what I'm
You
saying.
challenge
This, it may not be a proper
uh-huh.
name. It may not be a proper name. I'm not going to even like try to argue that as far as it's a proper name. I don't even care about that. But this is why I come to the conclusion that El was the name, or El was what was given because as a father or as a head authority over all the other guys, this is why they were able to have El. This is why they was able to also
Like,
have that determinative
this is
on
what,
that name.
this is why, and this is what I will agree with you on this, Wayne. I believe Yeshua was called El in particular passages, just El,
Oh, he was,
But
brother.
but look,
I'm
but
gonna show you that.
as what, but check this out. But in the context of what James said, like matter of fact, there's a part where Yahweh calls him El. I think that's in if I'm not mistaken, I think that's in Timothy. He said, "Oh God," or "Oh El." Would have been Theos in the Greek. But anyway,
He said the same thing
there's
chapter
point.
1.
Yeah, yeah. So there's points where they just call him El, but that's in the context of a mighty one or power, more so in the
Got you.
title sense
I got
than
you.
in the name. You know what I'm saying?
I
Or
Yeah,
called
like
king or whatever.
got
yeah,
you.
like when you go into like some of the Sumerian texts where you get like in El. Like that literally means king of gods. Like that's what it means, king of powers, pretty much. Like, and that's when you know that they're definitely talking about one specific deity. But like I said, El was definitely a name that he was known by, and I think it's the same deity that's went from Sumeria into Canaan, into Ugarit, even when you go into Ebla and different places like that. So I'm with you on what you're saying.
Now, this is what I want to do real quick. As I try to pull up the scripture, I had it in my notes, but this is the interesting part, and this is what a lot of brothers really look over when it comes down to this Messiah thing. I'm trying to hit everybody on both ends, man. You know what I'm saying? Messianic, non-messianic, and any non-believer. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to hit it on both ends so my people can have an understanding that with inside of our book, we are given something to do, and we have to do it, or we're going to fall on the wayside like the other nations did. Like I said before, Elohim was, very ready to put Moses over another nation, or create. He said he was going to create another nation through him. So this is what has always been happening with these other sects that were dealing with Elohim. They dropped the ball, and he chose somebody else. He passed it on to somebody else. Same thing with Melchizedek and Abraham. You know what I'm saying? So what I want one of you brothers to do for me real quick, matter of fact, I'm going to do it like this, if you could participate with me. James, I would like for you to find where Jacob went to the house of Bethel. I want you to find that for me, please. All right? And Alvin, I want you to find where matter of fact, I got it right here actually. I got both of those right here actually. Let me just go ahead and read this. But James, I want you to find that for me, brother, please. And when you get it, just let me know. Now this is where I come up with the theory, or I come up with the understanding that El is the name. All right, and it's the name that's supposed to be used and to be our identification marker for the rest of history. So when the New Testament came into play, he was letting them know, I'm revealing my Father's name to y'all. You get what I'm saying? It's no more about who I am no more, because now if you don't believe in me, you don't make it to him. And it always been like that since I was talking to you on the mount, since I was dealing with y'all. You always went through me, so it didn't change. But now you act like you don't know who I am. But I'm here to reveal the Father to you, because that's my job, and it always has been my job, just like it was the other God's job to do the same thing, but they failed to do it. Now check this out. This is the name that he said forever. It's not Yahuwah, and it's not Ahaya, Ashar, Ahaya. See, people get that all messed up because they don't go into this history, nor do they compare certain scriptures together. As a matter of fact, let me just jump on to this real quick. Let me jump on to what Jacob prayed and what Jacob was saying in Genesis chapter 48, verses 15, and also verses 16. It says, and he blessed Joseph and said, the Elohim, before whom my father Abraham and Isaac walked, the Elohim who has fed me all my life long to this day, the messenger who redeemed me from all evil, Baruch the youngest, and let my name be called upon them, and the name of my father Abraham and Isaac, and let them increase to multiply in the midst of the earth. Now, before anybody interrupt, this is why we say what we say. When we say the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Yaakov, because Jacob prayed this, that this would be the name that we would take upon and to identify who our God is through dealing with our forefathers, right? But what did he also say? He called the messenger Elohim. That one single messenger, he called him the plural Elohim again. Now, where do we find this at? This is why it was so significant when Moses asked the questions, well, what do I tell the children of Israel when I come? And I'm going to show you why. This is why it's so significant. And Moshe, and this is in verse 11 of Exodus chapter 3. And Moshe said to Elohim, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and that I should bring the children of Israel out of Mizraim? And he said, because I am with you. And this is to you the sign that I have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Mizraim, you are to serve Elohim on this mountain. And Moshe said to Elohim, see, when I come to the children of Israel and say to them, the Elohim of your fathers has sent me to you, and they say to me, what is his name? What shall I say to them? All right. He says, and Elohim said to Moshe, I am that which I am. And he said, thus you shall say to the children of Israel, I am has sent me to you. And Elohim said further to Moses. See, this is when people stop reading, they clog their ears up, and they be like, is this Yahweh or is Ahaya Ashar Ahaya? No. This is his name forever. And Elohim said further to Moshe, thus you are to say to the children of Yisrael, Yahuwah Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, and the Elohim of Jacob has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my remembrance to all generations. Why? Because Jacob prayed that. I just read, Jacob prayed it. All right? Now what we're going to do is, since we got that out the way, we're figuring out why Moses asked that question and what was the name forever, because that's what I take it as. He's saying my name is Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, and the Elohim of Jacob. That's my name forever. That's what everybody's going to know me by, period. That's what the children of Israel always say. The God of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because why? Jacob prayed that. Now, this was so interesting. When we skip back real quick. This real interesting right here, brothers and sisters. And I never really took no thought about it. But when I start actually doing that historical research or starting to backtrack where the scriptures originated from as far as with other scriptures in the Bible, this is real interesting to me. All right, let me find it real quick. This is real interesting. Matter of fact, Brother James, did you find that passage for me?
Yeah, I got it for you.
Can you read what happened right there? Can you read the section that I forgot what verse it is? I'm sorry.
No, you good. It's Genesis 35, starting at verse 1.
All right, let me get there. Here we go. Here we go. Now, this is why I say that is L. This is why I still show people, especially the brothers that do not believe Messiah or do not think there is a second in command when it comes to Israel. All right. It clearly says it in Amos, what I just read, what Alvin just read. It said it in Genesis 19:24. It says it in Psalms 119:1. All right, and it's going to say it right here. It's 2. It says, and Elohim said to Jacob, arise, go up to Bethel, which is the house of El, and dwell there, and make an altar there to El, whom appeared to you when you fled the faces of Esau. Now, is Elohim telling Jacob, because Elohim really denotes the father, and we know Malachim is still here interacting and being the spokesman for the father, because Messiah said nobody has heard nor seen. All right, so we got to keep that in mind too. Elohim, the top, is telling Jacob, go build, okay, a house for the El, singling out the El that you seen when you fled the face of Esau. Now we can go to where Jacob fled the face of Esau at. We can go to that scripture, and what do we find? We find Jacob going to sleep, seeing the ladder come down, and who did he see? He said, and I seen Elohim, I seen you who at the top of the ladder. That's who he seen. That's the El he seen. And what did that El? That El had the name Yahweh or Yahuwah. All right, I'm paraphrasing. Y'all can go and look this up. You know, all the people that going to be hearing this and looking at this, look this up. So you can't refute the fact that there is 2. There's one talking about another in multiple scriptures that I've shown. And it's more too. It's more. That's not the only one. But now for the brothers that are non-believers in a sense, to say that the Bible took, plagiarized, and copied, no. Let's get to it. No, it didn't. And this is not for debating purposes in the sense of me provoking. I'm teaching my people to do more in-depth research and understand, so they can understand who the Father really is, so they can have a better relationship with the Father, and we can all know that this book is our foundation, that we don't have to go nowhere else but where we at, because the one that created all things and put these different deities over other people is the one that's calling the shots. So we have to do our part. All right?
Hey,
you got do your part.
Can I ask you a question for my own clarification on your stance real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
All right, because when you mentioned about Moses, and you saying that he was told that Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob was the proper name that he was given at that point, I would have to ask, then what did he mean by when he said that your fathers did not know me by this name? Because Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob knew him by Elohim.
And that's what I'm saying. This is why he told Moses to say the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim, because this is what the children of Israel also knew him by the names of their father. You get what I'm saying? Now, I've seen a lot of brothers debate over that last part. You probably know what I'm talking about. They say it was supposed to be a question mark there, or it was basically saying that did they not know my name? Like basically saying like they knew me and asking Moses. So I don't really know about that part per se. I've kind of left that alone because to argue over that, I mean, long as we know the titles and the names and stuff like that, we good. You know what I'm saying? But yes, that's why he told Moses. He said, furthermore, he told Moses, Yahuwah Elohim, the Elohim. He go right back to what Jacob prayed. When Jacob said, let them be called by my name and by my father's name and by Isaac's name. And the same thing we see here. This is why I correlated. This is why I tie in that. The same thing that we see here in 35, in Genesis 35, where Elohim told Jacob to go build a house to El. You know what I'm saying? So all he was saying was, it's the same El that was dealing with our father Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's his name. That's what they knew him by. That's what they called him. So that's how we identified this El. Because it could be any Elohim. You get what I'm saying? So they like,
I hear you. I hear you. My question was more, and I hear you, and don't think I'm trying to debate you.
Nah, not you, James.
I'm more, you know what I'm saying? I'm more trying to understand people's standpoint. But because we know that from that point on, you know what I mean? Because I believe that he gave him Yod He Wah He, or Yahuwah, however you want to say it, in order to differentiate them from the other nations, because they was his special people. And though it means he who exists, or a self-existent one, however they want to say it means that I
actually agree with that, James, because and you know what, and Wayne, that what James said kind of brings it full circle, because remember when I told you originally that you had different traditions about what El was doing, right? So then when we get Yahweh, this is our tradition of El and what he didn't do. So all that stuff about him seeing the two women by the river and having sex with them and being a storm god and all that goes out the window.
Remember though, it goes both ways. Like me and
See what I'm saying?
James's point of view and my point of view are very equal in the stance that if I said the El of Abraham, that's what I'm saying. If I said the El of Abraham, you couldn't get it confused.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? So that's why I say I don't disagree with that, and I'm really not even trying to push that this is the proper name in a sense. But all I'm saying is that this was the identification of what the Messiah was speaking on and what the Tanakh was speaking on. Because
I got you. And the only reason I said what I was. Hold on real quick, Alvin. Let me clarify something. Only reason I'm saying that is because you got people listening.
Great point. You made
so I wanted to be clarified. You know what I'm saying? So everybody can hear it and get exactly what you're saying. Because I kind of understood where you was going, but you know how some people get caught up on stuff.
I got you.
Sometimes we got to clarify things and put it out there. It's the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
No, you and Alvin made some great points, and that's why I wanted to do it like this. You get what I'm saying? Like I told Alvin, I wanted him to kind of play devil's advocate a little bit because, I'm not going to, I'm pretty confident in what I'm saying, but I know that with more minds, it'll just bring more truth out, you know what I'm saying? So whoever looks at this and see this and take what y'all saying and what I'm saying and take it further, I mean, we'll get some more clarification. You know what I mean? And that's why I had to shout out Ron Divine as well, because he told me, he asked me to, he requested me to do this as far as who was Moses talking to in the burning bush, and that opened up another can for me and another avenue for me to express this point of view that I've been having for a minute. So I got to give credit to you brothers that's making those points, because those points are just as much equal to what I'm bringing out, because Alvin made a very great point to say Emmanuel is the full name, because in Hebrews the premise is name this particular son. So if Michael is a son of God and Gabriel is a son of God, then Emmanuel is also a son of God, and y'all should know who Emmanuel is. So those points are very key, which y'all just brought up, and for the clarification of people, and I really respect that. It helps me out even more. It gives me more confidence. You get what I'm saying? So it's just I really appreciate that.
Well, So, brother, I'm about to close out. If there's anything else you got to say, we definitely might have to do a part 2 to
Yeah, man,
this. You know what I'm saying?
it's a lot, man. I mean, as far as
Yeah.
you know, going down to matter of fact, let me get one more thing out the way real quick, and then we'll go ahead and you can go ahead and end it, man. I just got to get this to the people. I feel like they need to see this and they need to hear this real quick. This real quick breakdown, right? All right. First of all, when you go into the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Septuagint, there's a passage that is, excuse me. There's a passage. Let me get it out real quick. There's a passage in Deuteronomy chapter 32, verses 8, that says, when the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, when he divided all mankind, he set up boundaries for the people according to the numbers of the sons of Israel. That is incorrect in a sense of the older manuscripts will say the sons of God. And then in the next verse, it'll say, in Yahweh or Yahuwah, his inheritance was Jacob. Now the reason why, now let me break this down real quick, because some people will say, see, that's futuristic. But you got to understand something. Moses in Deuteronomy was bringing the past into the present to let Israel know that you were chosen. That's why he said, and Yahweh chose his people Yaakov. But really, we know who Yahweh chose. He chose Abraham first to be the inheritor, to be the one to be an inheritor of his seed. Okay, and he also got his portion from his father, like the rest of the Malachims got their portions over Sumer, over certain parts of Sumer, over Egypt, and over certain parts of Africa, all over the world. All right, the Most High has issued these gods in these areas. Now, to go back, when it says the number of the sons of Israel, Israel was not here on the scene. Okay, and this is exact reference, an exact parallel to Genesis 10 through 11, where it talks about the Tower of Babel, and the let us go and confound their language comes into play, because that's the only way people will be separated and be given boundaries, and to be given a geographical location through the separation of language. All right, so it parallels up with that, and you can read that out the Dead Sea Scrolls, and you can also read that in the Septuagint. I don't have the Dead Sea Scroll number, but everybody that's listening, do your research.
That was 4Q, brother Jane. I think that was 4Q36. I think.
Yeah, it was something. It was 4Q something. It was 4Q something.
You're right.
But I just wanted that to be understood, that when we're dealing with this Bible, we're dealing with something more than just a book that keeps itself in Israel. This book is talking about something that goes before Israel, and also talks about something that's coming after Israel, as far as the events that are going to happen. All right, this is why Israel is chosen. This is why you, as Israelites, y'all got to wake up and y'all got to keep the priesthood of Melchizedek, because the Father had to swear to himself, because he knew he was going to mess up. He had to swear to himself, promise to himself, that he would perform the task by creating Abraham's seed to be a blessing for the other nations. Because like I clearly said, he told Moses, I will destroy these people and I will raise up another people into you. So we got to be thankful that we are who we are and we believe what we believe in. Because that's the stewardship that was passed on to us. So that's my that's all I really got to say on that. There will be a part 2, a part 3, and a part 4 that's not specifically dealing with this topic, but dealing with topics that intertwine with this to give a better historical context of the Bible, and specifically Torah. All right. So
I'm gonna try to see if I can get hey, real good, Dwayne, brother Yeshaya. I'm gonna see if I can get Divine on here too, whatever. So y'all could probably tag team on it. Brother Yaakov, you got anything to say before we close out?
Well, all I would say to add on to this is I do think the brother did a wonderful job, and I agree with a lot of what the brother was saying. And the big problem I see is people aren't willing to go more ancient than Israel when dealing with our text. You have to be willing to dig into the Sumerian text, the Ugaritic text, the Ebla text, even some of the Canaanite text, just portions of it. You have to be willing to dig into there and take and eat the meat and spit out the bones on some of the things to get some real deep understanding on what this is talking about, because we have to understand that before Abraham, what did Abraham grow up reading? Before we had this Hebrew text put together by Moses, he grew up reading the Sumerian text. That's what he grew up in. So anything that was related to his children would have came from those texts. Not every one of them, but I'm pretty sure he was in a priesthood that used select texts. So we have to be willing to go into these texts in ancient Sumeria and dig through, eat the meat, and spit out the bones on some of these subject matter.
And I agree with you, James, too, because when I said when we go back to Abraham, like you said, there wasn't a Torah when Abraham was walking around, at least one that was legible in a book. So it's like you said, we can find clues of the oral traditions and customs Abraham was doing within the Bible and in some of those texts. But like you said, you have to go through a sifting job of spitting out the bones. You know what I'm saying? And there you can find clues about what exactly our forefathers was doing. So I want to thank Brother Yeshai for coming on here and giving a good presentation. And I want to thank you, Brother Yaakov, for giving your insight on these things. We're definitely going to do a part 2 to this later on, and to everybody out looking at this, shalom.